Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by for episode 4 of this timber frame house build. We're still currently working on the foundation and first floor at this point. We're getting those ready for the timber frame. And so if you didn't see the first 3 episodes, we cleared the land, graded it, built the footers and foundation walls, and poured the crawl space floor. That was all pretty much done by contractors, and now I finally get to get in there and start doing some work. And so in this episode, we're going to be adding the foam insulation to the walls and building our carrying beams, also known as girders, getting ready for the floor joists and subfloor. So we decided to have our foam insulation on the inside of our crawl space rather than the outside of the wall. That way I didn't have to apply stucco to that last 12 inches or so that's above the ground. It's really brittle, and in these northern climates it doesn't hold up very well with the freeze and thaw cycles. So we decided to run it on the inside. Now there are some downsides to that. One, I can't see if the foundation walls ever crack, if there's termite tunnels, anything like that. And luckily, since this is a crawl space that's not an occupied space, I don't have to cover the foam with any kind of fire barrier like I would if this was a basement wall. Well everyone, we got about 2 inches of rain last night. Everything's super wet. But what we're gonna do today is got all of our foam insulation installed on the crawl space walls. And we secured it with foam adhesive and some ram sets to hold it in place because it wasn't sticking enough to hold it. So we're gonna trim all those flush with the Sawzall reciprocating saw, which is real easy. And then we're gonna install all of our bottom ledge, our shelf sill plates. And the foundation people weren't able to actually install the anchor bolts in this bottom sill, in this bottom shelf, because the way the forms were built and everything. So we're gonna drill and install 1/4 inch Tapcon screws in that. And since that's really just supporting and keeping the I-joists off of the concrete, it doesn't really need to be anchored to the foundation like that top sill plate. So that's our main sill plate. Hopefully the inspectors don't have any problem with us using those 1/4 inch Tapcons to secure those. I think we'll be good on that. And then we have all of our LVLs and I-joists way over there. We have to build up our girders with the LVLs, nailing those together and stringing those across. We have our beam pockets right here that those will rest into, and we have our pads underneath the floor that we'll need to drill down with, I think they're 1/2 inch or 5/8 Titan HDs for our post brackets, install our posts level with those LVL beams and girders, and then we can start running our joists across. So we got a lot of work to do. I really want to get this floor done as soon as possible so I can start messing around with our timbers and start cutting those and getting those laid out for the class that's coming up in just a few weeks now. So all right, so for the shelf sill, what I'm doing is I'm countersinking for our Titan HDs down just a little bit so the head will sink below the sill plate. And you can't be any more than, at least for the main sill, I'm just kind of following this code, you can't be any more than 12 inches from an edge and no more than 6 foot spacing. So because this is a 16 footer, we have about 5 foot spacing. I have one on the edge here, and then when we drill those, then we're going to take our concrete drill and drill our holes through the sill plate into the concrete. And then I have to take the sill plate off and finish the hole without the sill plate on there because I can't get quite to final depth. And then we'll take our air compressor and blow out those holes, then put the sill back on top and hope that the holes line up and screw it into place. A little bit of a countersink.
with whatever, but there we go.
There, feels real solid.
Yeah, that's good.
So now that the shelf sill plate is installed, I'm going to drill holes through our crawl space slab down into the big rebar reinforced footer pads and secure our post brackets using 5/8 inch Titan HD concrete anchors. The 6x6 posts that mount to these brackets are positioned directly underneath where the timber frame posts will land, so that the load path goes directly from those timber frame posts down through the 6x6 post into those reinforced footers underneath the slab. More plate here. We got 40 minus 9.5, 30.5. All right. Our span across the middle of the house here is 32 feet and half an inch. So we're gonna cut these two beams, these two LVLs, at 16.25 so that the middle lands on that center post, but we gotta build this up 3-ply. So we'll do 4 like that. So we'll do 2 seams over that post, and then the middle one, it'll be an 8-foot piece to land the seam on each of these outside posts, and then a 16-foot one that runs from this post across the middle, because you're supposed to stagger those. So we're doing that, gonna get it lined up, and we're gonna glue it too, just to prevent any potential for squeaks. So, and then a bunch of nailing with hammers, old-fashioned style. So I'm running 3 rows of subflooring glue on these LVL beams before nailing them together. The glue isn't required by code or anything, but anytime that you use nails in your subflooring system without glue, there's a chance that you might get some squeaks. But these are 9.5 inch LVLs, and code and the manufacturer both instruct that you need to have 2 rows of 3.5 inch 16 penny nails spaced every 12 inches, and those nails need to be a minimum of 2 inches from the edge. So we snapped a chalk line at 2 inches from the edge and then marked every 12 inches, but we went ahead and added a 3rd row in the middle as well, just to make these super beefy, and this has to be done on both sides of these 3-ply LVL girders. I use my nail gun to tack these into place, but my nail gun can't shoot these large 3.5 inch nails, so we're going to switch to hammers and nail the rest of them by hand. And since I don't do this every day, I actually really enjoy driving nails the old-fashioned way. You kick that, tap that bottom.
The bottom one?
Yeah, a little bit.
Watch your fingers.
Go ahead. Do it again. All right. Two, three. How'd that feel?
Oh, it's okay.
I think this will be harder. 1, 2, 3. All right, take a little breather. 1, 2, 3. There we go, she's on there. Big beam. All right, so we need to lay out the holes that I need to drill for the posts to support this other girder beam. I have one in the middle, I need one on the other side. And so I laid out where I want this girder beam at. Right here in this pocket, got a little line for centered. I'll use my little plumb bob. Let it stop wiggling. And then I'm gonna do that on the other side. And then I'm gonna have my little buddy, my little helper, hold the string for me. And I can measure my straight line. I know my distance from the walls for those posts, and we'll drill some holes. Right here. See right on that line? Can you hold it right there on that line? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Now keep it nice and tight. I gotta come all the way over here, put it on the other line. Okay. Pull it tight. Snap it a couple times, make sure it's straight. Okay, stay right there. Yep, hold it. Try not to bump it. Don't move. Okay, now I'm gonna put this right here. Don't touch it. I'm gonna go against the wall. All right, we got 7, 7.5 right there. That's where our first hole goes. Now I forgot what this middle one is. Gotta measure this one. Don't move it. Okay, we are at 15, 7.5. 15, 7.5. I should have known that. It's a perfectly 8 feet pass. Okay. 15, 7.5. Perfectly right on that line. Okay. Yeah, July 15th. That is my number of my birthday. Okay. Let's go 8 feet from there. Just verify this direction. Seven and a half. Good. All right, Finners. You want to wrap this string up for me? Come over here, wrap this string up for me. So what I'm going to do now, before I do those other posts, because I'll measure off my beam, I'm not going to secure that post because I'm going to build this second girder. I'm going to install it across there, put my top bracket on there, and then I can use a laser level or another string line to make sure my second girder is perfectly in line with that. It looks like it is from the measurements, but before I secure that, and then it's easier to kind of tilt those in. So, and then this time I'm going to build the girder on top of this girder. Instead of getting down on the floor, I have enough span and length right here that I should be able to set my pieces on top of here, nail them down and build it up that way, and then I can shimmy it all along that top shelf and drop it into its little pocket. So that's the game plan. I'm solo today, so I'll be bringing these big old boys one at a time. Can't really quite get my tractor in where they're stacked. Alright, so I got my LVLs over here on the tractor, so I don't have to carry those all up. And what I'm going to attempt to do is build the beams on top of this beam. Hopefully the working height isn't too high, making hammering awkward. But I'm going to lay out the 3 middle pieces, which is an 8-foot, 16, then 8-foot. Run my beads of glue, then put my 2 16-foot pieces on top of that, nail them down. Then hopefully I can flip those 2 pieces over and put my other 2 16-foot pieces on the other side, so that my staggering joints are 8 foot in the middle, and then you have your 2 16 outside pieces here, and then the 16 in the middle runs all the way to this last 8-foot section, so that they're staggered and over the posts. And we'll just see if I can flip it, see if I can do this by myself, because I don't have any help today besides my buddy Finn, and we'll see how she goes. Let's get started. Okay, so that worked out really well. I was able to build the beam on that beam and then just slide it over on these shelves. Now I have to drop it into these pockets without killing myself. And let's see how that might feel. Okay, here we go. Just going for it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. Okay. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to install the posts into their brackets and nail them to the girders. I'm making sure that I'm using the properly sized galvanized nails, and I'm also nailing into every hole on those plates. So building the girders on top of already installed girders worked out really well, and so we just repeated that process until we had all our girders installed and we were ready for our floor joists. Sorry for saying girders so many times in this video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure you tune in next video where we install our floor joists, and I'm sure I'll say joist tons and tons of times. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.